You didn't know today was Duck Day, but today is Duck Day. We're going to make a Mandarin duck. If I zoom in, you can see this one's got some interest on the wing, some interest in the head. We've got that same bill head distinction, so I know what that fold's going to be. And then we've got something interesting happening here with the tail. Okay? Alright, here's how we begin this one. We're going to start, and mine's pink, so I'll start with a pink piece of paper. Pink on one side and white on the other. I'm going to make a diaper fold, and I'm going to make a kite base. Again, a kite base, anytime I use the word base in this class, it's going to be just shorthand for do these couple of folds and then I won't have to walk you through them. Okay, so here's my kite base. Now notice this white part up here. I'm going to take this and fold it over so that I've got a triangle. We folded these two sides in and we took this extra part and folded it down. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it over and I've got an isosceles triangle. Now here comes the fun part. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take this base, let that triangular part, that tail, pop out, and we're going to fold that much of it over. Okay, this is a non-reproducible, but this is going to be how much wing there is. Okay, and all I did, let me show you that again. I took the base of my isosceles triangle, I picked it up off the tabletop so that this could pop out, and then I rolled it over, and it looks like this line runs right through the center. This cuts that about in half. That's a good little determination for you. This is that triangular flap of paper. If I look at its height and cut it about in half, that's a pretty good place. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this, re-emphasize that center crease. Okay. Now, here's my duck. The wings are down. We're going to take the top wing here, and we're going to fold it up. Notice this point in the back, I'm going to lay on the backbone, and I want the wing to go straight up. Just a little bit of white shows here when I do that. Let me zoom in. In other words, I took this point, and as I folded it across, it lined right there on the backbone. This bird is going to be symmetric, so I'm going to just take this wing and quickly match it up. Here's our duck. It's headed that way, so here's its little tail, and all of this can be head and neck and bill and all that sort of stuff. First, we need to take this material and send it up. So I'm going to take most of that point and go straight up. You'll notice how it is in relation to the wing fronts here. Okay. This is an outside reverse fold, so we lay this almost flat and we say that neck needs to go up. And then we collapse it on creases that already exist. These inside and outside reverse folds are some of the hardest. They're the final finishing points of most of our animals. We make legs and tails and all sorts of fun things like that. So that's why I like to introduce it early. Okay, but this is something that you may have to work on for quite some time. All right, now I want a lot of material in the head, so I'm going to take most of this point and go forward with it. Okay, now what I do with an outside reverse fold, you spread it almost flat. You said this bill needs to go forward, and then you collapse on creases that already exist. It almost folds itself. Okay. See how this looks in relation to our target. He's got a lot of beak there, but it's all one piece of his head. Here we have that separation. That was a stair-step fold. So here's what we're going to do. We turn our duck so we see underneath the bill. This is going to go in and back out. Now, when you go in, that tells you how much of the head there's going to be. So this bird has a small head, and I don't really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and extend the head. That's a little bit, well, that looks about the same. Well, that's much better, okay? So I took that point almost to the base of the head there, and then we're going to come back out. And there's the bill. Okay, if you want more bill, pull more of it out, but don't pull all the way, or you'll have lost the effect. Okay, so the first part says here's where the head's going to be, and that's a good looking head. And then the second one is how much bill is there going to be. And there's the bill. Okay, this is all about practicing your reverse fold, so we could leave this tail and just have a duck that's moving along fairly fast, but we're going to have a duck whose tail feathers are up in the air. So here's how we do this. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the rear end. We're going to take this point down to this point. You can see where this ends. We're going to take this point to this point. In profile, this makes it look like it has no tail feather. Okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to go straight back up. Okay? So I went down and then I went straight back up. Now if I just release my finger, at some point somebody's going to come along and unfold this. So what I have to do is a series of inside and outside reverse folds, or just inside reverse folds I suppose, to get that tail to stay that way. Now you did it in a two-step process. 1, the tail goes away. 2, the tail comes back out. So here's what we're going to do. Spread it almost flat. The tail goes in, and I'm using this first set of creases, and it collapses. No tail. I reach in here, and I see where that tail is, and I'm going to pull out. Those are creases that already exist, and there's your tail feather. It's all inside the duck. It's all very stable, and it'll stay no matter how you hold the duck. Okay. Here's the one I made beforehand, and here's the one we just made. You can see a little bit of difference in the heads. This head's a little bit smaller than that one. This bill seems to be a little bit longer than that one. The tails are almost identical. That's called a Mandarin duck.